guys, it's Jane. Now it's still June, so it must be Dune in June. We're here to talk about Dune. I'm sorry I'm late. I wasn't so great over the weekend, but I'm feeling a lot more energetic now, and I'm standing on the wrong side of the screen here. But I'm struggling with the lighting, and it actually is a lot better lit over here than it is over here. So I'm just going to stand over here and pretend I don't care, and you don't care about any of that. So let's just get into Dune. All right. I'm sure everybody who's watching this now has already seen Paul's video, and I agree with a lot of what he was saying. Except basically I'm still enjoying it. The whole list of responses I'm going to have here are all negative, so you're going to wonder why. But actually I think I am still enjoying the story. It is kind of middle book syndrome in this bit. Really not very much happens except for some character exploration, and we set up more things for the action, which I'm presuming is going to happen in the third part. But basically we start off at the beginning in the desert and with Paul and Jessica, and they meet some freemen, and there's, you know, drama, and then they end up, they're still in the desert. They're just a bit further into the desert at the end. So they've been come into a freeman village. So they don't make a huge amount of progress, and yeah, that's what's going on with the story. So what are my responses to this part of the book? One of the big things that I've started to become a little bit uncomfortable with, more thinking about it, reflecting on it afterwards rather than while I was actually reading it, and it's the way that the Fremen are being Fremen, I don't know. Everybody else is seeming to say Fremen, but in my head I'm saying Freeman, so I'm just going to go Freeman, and you'll just know what I'm talking about. The Freemen, I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable. It feels to me like they're being, the mechanics of how they're being drawn, because almost everybody in the story are kind of evil at one sort of degree or another, except for the Freemen. And I have a feeling that there's elements of the whole noble savage thing going on in the way they're portrayed, and because they're pure and unsophisticated but wise, and they live away from the habitations of men. And you know, I'm not 100% certain that it's kind of gone too far, but I've got questions about that. The other thing is that a number of people responded saying how moving that they found the water stuff, the revelation that the Freemen actually have all this water, but they are banking it, they're holding it back because they're going to, you know, when they finally have enough, they're going to use it to terraform the planet and make everything wonderful. And isn't this noble? And I have really a mixed response to that, because of course, you know, I'm all for the positive transformation of the planet and making it more, you know, a friendly environment. Although, you know, it's not a human planet. Humans have come here. They are colonizers, and you've got to wonder what's going to happen to the native wildlife and whatever when the whole ecosystem is completely rearranged. That's one question. And the other question is about the ethics of banking and withholding this water in an environment where people are routinely dying of dehydration. It's not just that they are taking the excess water and putting it away to bank. They're taking almost all of the water and putting it away to bank. It feels to me like there could be a different balance point where less of the water is banked and more of the water is shared, and fewer people are dying of thirst. Maybe. I mean, the terraforming, the collecting the water to re-terraform the planet seems to be a kind of multi-generational project. So what difference does it make if you add an extra 10 generations and then fewer people die in the meantime? So I have questions about the project, the big project that I'm supposed to in the book think is, you know, a perfectly wonderful and exciting and beautiful and whatever thing. Now, the humming language. Paul's video was hilarious when he got to the humming language. There's this couple who are kind of spy type people, and they turn up at the Harkowens thing and they're doing this humming language. I'm assuming because they describe that, and then they've got all this stuff on the page with all the hums, and clearly this drove Paul just a little bit mad. I found it a bit annoying, but it didn't kind of completely ruin it for me. But what really made me, while I was reading that section, I was being pulled a lot of different ways during that section. That section with the gladiator fight and the spies and the humming, I found that whole section probably the most engrossing of this part of the book, but not necessarily for good reasons. But anyway, intellectually, I kept going, how would that even work? Like, I spent there was all this extra cogitation stuff that's going on in my brain while I'm reading that part, because I'm like, how can it work? So they are speaking in normal language, and at the same time, like all around that, they are speaking this code language to each other in such a way that other people don't know it's a language. And I'm thinking, surely if it's a language, it's going to have patterns. It's not going to sound melodic in the way that you would expect humming to sound. I would have thought, firstly, I couldn't work out what the mechanics of that actual code could be. Like, I spent a lot of time thinking about how that would actually work. And then I was thinking, and everybody else is completely clueless that these two people are speaking in this code. That's what I'm supposed to think? That doesn't sound reasonable to me. The other thing that was going on in that sequence, really the whole gladiatorial combat thing that there's gone to see, I found that really deeply, deeply stomach turning. I mean, any kind of battling to the death for entertainment value is going to be stomach churning, but it's completely one-sided. So even though this one was less heavily weighted than usual because the guy wasn't drugged, it's like you've got this naked, unarmed man, normally who is drugged, and then you put in a highly trained, armored, weaponized, like, overlord, and that's entertaining. I honestly, I couldn't see how that would be entertaining. And there's a frisson of danger this time, because it appears that the guy isn't drugged, but he's neurolinguistically programmed to just fall over whenever he's, you know, should he get to the point of threatening his opponent, and that's like a manly, courageous risk. That part did not work for me at all. I mean, is it just supposed to make me hate the Harkonnens more? I already hated them a fair amount, so I really didn't enjoy that part of the book. Howat's gone over to the dark side. Well, we haven't actually heard from his point of view. We're just hearing other people talking about him. But it sounds believable that he's bought the lie that Jessica was the traitor, and in order to avenge Duke Leto, he's got to join the Harkonnens and take out Jessica, and I'm very disappointed about that. Although I am very happy to hear that Idaho survived all the fighting, and he's probably my favourite, minor, in this character so far. Because Jessica and Paul, no, I'm not been really super excited about what they've been doing either, and particularly for Jessica, the stuff about the girl, the way that she's talking about the girl with Paul as if she's encouraging him to take her as a concubine but can't marry her because she's beneath him. And I'm like, well, because being a concubine did you so many favors, but you want to promote this idea for your son? Yeah. Anyway, that's what I've got to say. So hopefully I've thought up something that, can make you feel like you want to comment. I'm going to keep reading this, and I think there's one more video where we do a wrap-up of the whole book. I have been enjoying the read-along. I hope you have too, and that's it for me today. I hope you're all well, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!